To other news now, the Attorney-General has revealed the investigation into the security agency's handling of an Egyptian terrorist may not look at the actions of the Immigration Minister. Tony Abbott has also committed a coalition government to stopping the boats in his first term. For more now, I'm joined by Sky News political reporter Laura Jays from Canberra. Laura, firstly, what exactly will the inquiry look at?
Well, we haven't seen the terms of reference yet, but this is an inquiry that will look at the communication between the agencies, AFP, ASIO, the department, but it perhaps might not look at what the minister was in charge of here. This is, of course, after the case in which an Egyptian convicted terrorist arrived on an asylum seeker vessel, and it wasn't for the better part of a year until the minister was informed. Now, a long time, for a number of months, this man was kept in the Inverbrackie detention centre in Adelaide, which is a low security detention centre. Now, there was, contrary to previous reports, yesterday it was revealed that Minister Bowen, the Immigration Minister at the time, or his office, received a briefing note back in September. But look, there is some breakdown in communication here. Whether the minister in charge at the time was to blame for part of this, well, Mark Dreyfus pointed out this morning that this is not an investigation that's going to look into the actions of the minister. Take a look.
I don't know what happened there, and I'm not going to speculate about what happened.
But there should be an inquiry then.
There is an inquiry.
Yeah, but you're saying into national security, not into the ministerial performance. Why not have it into the ministerial performance as well?
The inquiry that the Inspector General of Intelligence and Security has been asked to carry out here looks at the case of this individual, and will also, she's been asked by the Prime Minister to make suggestions about how things are to be handled in the future.
So there will be suggestions about how things will be handled in the future, but the opposition is demanding to see the terms of reference before question time today. And they're also saying that the minister needs to be part of this inquiry. And if he's not, well, Scott Morrison this morning suggested that perhaps the Prime Minister is trying to protect him.
And what we're seeing here, I think, is the Prime Minister trying to shield her ministers who have been either culpable through their don't ask, don't tell offence, or culpable by their don't act offence when they were advised. And that has to be the subject of this inquiry, and that's what we want confirmation of today.
Laura, also today, Tony Abbott has put forward a firm timeline for stopping asylum seeker boats if he wins government, and it's pretty ambitious.
Yes, it is, and it is a firm timeline. You have to remember that 3,000 or so boats on average are arriving every month. So to stop the flow in 3 years, if an Abbott government would win, would be quite a feat. But he was asked about this on the doors of Parliament House when he arrived this morning, and this is what he had to say, followed by what his shadow immigration minister had to say.
The short answer is yes. We will make a difference from day one. We've done it before. We will do it again.
We will stop the boats.
In a first term?
Is that, of course.
Of course, according to Scott Morrison there, as I say, 3,000 boats are arriving every month, and this will be one of the key political issues, Selena.
And just finally, Laura, 100 days until the election, Labor's still behind in the polls. What's morale like, do you think?
Well, in Parliament House, the morale's not great. There's another report this morning that Daryl Mellum and Alan Griffin have already packed up their offices in case that they do lose their seats and don't have to come back to Canberra. Now, Daryl Mellum is on a margin of about 1.4% and Alan Griffin is about 7.7%. So with the huge swing, well, Daryl Mellum, you'd have to assume, would lose his seat. These are two Western Sydney seats. And this, of course, comes after 3 bad polls were published this week. So the morale in Parliament House among Labor ranks is pretty low at the moment.
That's quite extraordinary. OK, Laura Jays, thanks very much for that.